and welcome to Delve into the Void. My name is Chelsea.
I'm Lacey.
And this is a really exciting episode for me because we are close to my favorite holiday. And what is that?
I don't know. Based on all this stuff around it, I'm going to say Christmas?
Yeah, if you wish. No. No, not at all. I love Halloween.
Halloween is my favorite time of the year, and it's the best time to watch horror movies. You know, that's funny that you said that, because I got a little treat in here. You got candy? Maybe. I got a liquor. What do I want to do with that? Alright. Movies. Which is my favorite thing to do around Halloween. I want a candy, though. Oh, I'm sorry. Whatever candy. Alright, well, this is just as good, though. Movies are just as good. We're going to go through some movies that we thought that if you're a Halloween lover, too, or just a horror movie lover, we're going to go through a list of movies that we like or that we grew up with, and just something to watch around this time of year. We're going to start with the classic, obviously. Oh, gosh. Now, this is actually an original. This is our mom's. She actually keeps this in her bedroom, I know, along with a Chucky doll, which is really freaky. And she found this. List? No, it's actually not. We had to cut the list down. We had a very big list. This thing. Yeah, it's got all kinds of stuff on it. It's really cool. And it's supposed to talk, but I think it's battery dead. I'm sorry. Wait, no, it's working. He's playing the theme music, but you can't hear it. It's very garbled. But there you go. I just had to take him out for a minute. She actually found that at a yard sale, I believe. It's amazing what you can find at garage sales and yard sales and stuff. You can find classic stuff like that. Oh, yeah. So, and she loved it. So she's got that in her bedroom, and it's just what she keeps in there. Yeah. So we're going to talk about Halloween. Yep, this is our first one. It just seems fitting that we start with this one. Yes, this one came out in 1978. It's one of the first Halloween horror movies. Yes. And they originally actually wanted to name it The Babysitter Murders or something like that. Yeah. But they figured, having it called Halloween because it's around that time of year. Right. They just figured it would fit better, so they ended up changing it to Halloween, of course. Right. And this is pretty much where Jamie Lee Curtis makes her debut. In movies. Do you know how old she was in that movie? She was actually the only teenager of all, because they showed all these teenagers, getting slaughtered left and right. She was actually the only real teenager at the time. All the rest of them were like in their 20s or whatever. So I'm guessing 17, 18, something like that at the time. So yeah, she was the youngest one. And she actually thought that she had done a bad job during filming. She was expecting to get fired. She was really disappointed in the way that she had performed everything. And so when she got the call from John Carpenter, she was expecting to be fired, basically. But instead, he told her that she did a good job, everything worked out. It was just unexpected for her. I mean, she seems like she's actually was really hard on herself. I thought she did pretty well for such a young actress in this movie. I mean, she really did look fearful in a lot of those scenes. She probably was. I would be too if William Shatner was coming at me. I gotta talk about the mask, that reminds me. The mask, they didn't have a very big budget for this movie. I don't remember the exact number, do you know? It was a shoestring budget. Yeah, it wasn't big at all. So they used a William Shatner mask that they painted white, and they cut the eye holes out and everything, and they messed up the hair. And William Shatner didn't even know about it. Not for a while, no. Until an interview, somebody had mentioned it, and he said that he was honored. What did you find scary about this movie? What do you think? They did really well with the music. Yes, I do. I mean, the music. It's very simple. I think the music is actually what made the movie in a way, because it just gives it that edge a little bit, and when you hear that music, you know what's coming. Yeah. And with him, I mean, you didn't know where he was. He just kind of appeared in different places. And it's kind of funny because, I mean, he always walked around. Like, he really didn't ever get away. But in a way, that's kind of scary. So clumsy when they're running away from the villain, too. They always fall down. Kind of like Friday the 13th, yeah. Or he would just kind of teleport himself to somewhere else, He was always there, and that's what's scary. Somebody sees him on the sidewalk, And they look away for a second, then they look back and
then he's gone. I don't know how he does
that. Takes
that.
off running or something.
Yeah, like hides behind a tree or something. Like,
I like that when he's hunting down Jamie Lee Curtis, they're in such a small environment, inside that house. It's kind of claustrophobic to me because there's not really that many places to hide.
Yeah.
So that's something
that
to me
is
that made
one of
it
those
frightening.
kind of jump scare
Yeah.
moments a little bit because you think to yourself, how is she gonna get out of that one?
And I like that he doesn't talk, and I like that you don't see his face. There's more mystery to it, and it makes it scarier.
Plus, they always, in the script and everything, they always called him the Shadow, didn't they?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you did see a shadow a lot in the movie, and it just, even though you would see the shadow, but then all of a sudden, where's he at? He's not there, and then he'd just pop up somewhere else. I mean, he's just, he's not your typical, runs around, chases after you. I mean, he just walks, and then he still ends up right there, you know? And that he's devoid of all emotion.
And I think it's scary that his first kill happened when he was so young.
He was 6, I believe, and it was his own sister.
So what a way to start a movie.
Yeah.
And I don't think they had anything like that at that time.
So
Ready for the next
yes,
one?
I am.
Okay.
I am
Alright.
excited.
Yeah, Evil Dead's next one.
Evil Dead. Aw, that's such a good Bruce Campbell. You can't go wrong with Bruce Campbell.
He's such a fun actor, isn't he?
And Sam Raimi too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's amazing at directing and producing. And
Another
everything,
movie
so.
that was another shoestring budget.
Yes. Well, I think they were just like college students at the time.
Yeah.
And it was them and their friends, and they actually found an abandoned cabin. I mean,
Real abandoned cabin.
yes, to do that at.
Kind of makes it even scarier.
I don't
if you
even
think about
know if the actors got paid really. I don't know. I really don't. But I mean, and they worked in horrible conditions. It was cold. The makeup was horrible. One of the actresses, when they took off the makeup stuff that was on her face or mold that was on her face, it actually took her eyelashes off too.
Oh yeah.
So, and then another one had these big goofy white contacts in. And she couldn't see anything. And there's a part where she's fighting Bruce Campbell.
I think her name was Linda.
Was it Linda?
Yeah.
Okay. And he's fighting this blind woman basically because she
Literally
can't see a
fighting a
thing.
blind woman. Yeah.
Yeah.
That movie's pretty interesting.
Yeah, they used cream corn that was dyed green for like the guts and stuff. So of course they didn't do CG or anything.
Yeah.
They did everything themselves. Some of the stuff was from other sets or Sam Raimi's other, movies, films that he did, stuff like that. So he just borrowed it from that because I mean they didn't have money.
I know
really.
the part with the chainsaw where he's holding it up to her. Was it up to her neck? He has
Like
it really
her
close
chest
to her.
area, yeah.
I know at that scene it was a real chainsaw.
It was real.
So you can see her. You can see her veins just beating really fast.
Can
She's
you
got this
imagine?
chainsaw that close to her?
Can you imagine having that? I mean,
Yeah.
right. Any slip and he would cut her in half basically,
Yeah.
for real. I mean, that's
pretty
really
frightening.
scary, yeah. And they didn't have stuntmen, any of that stuff, so there were injuries. Bruce Campbell got injured. I think he tripped over a tree root or
his
something.
knee.
When he was running, he hurt his ankle too,
Oh,
twisted his ankle. And Rob Tepper and Sam Raimi, they thought that he was joking around when he told them he was hurt. So they started taking sticks and poking him in the ankle with these sticks, and he, was laughing it off, but they didn't believe what he was saying. They didn't believe he was actually hurt. So throughout parts of the movie, he's actually really
limping. He's
That's
really
real
in pain.
because they heard it worse.
Yeah.
They thought he was messing around.
Yeah.
So
I know that scene where that woman was basically raped by that tree.
yeah,
That was actually cut in certain countries.
It was
They
banned.
couldn't show it because it was so brutal.
they weren't originally planning on the the tree rape scene. I don't know why they decided to go that way, but I do know that they originally weren't going to go that route. It just kind of happened, I guess. So
to me, that's a scary scene.
It is
I'm always really
scary.
uncomfortable when that scene comes up.
And I think what they did with that, which is kind of cool, because they don't have like special effects and all that fun stuff. They just wrapped the vines and stuff around her, and then they did the shot like in reverse. They pulled the vines so that it unraveled, and then they showed it like it looked like it was actually wrapping around her.
It's a really clever way of filming this with their budget being the way it was.
But I mean, that was their start. Bruce Campbell kind of became the face, you know? He became the main character because he was the one that girls wanted to look at, apparently. He was the good looking one.
Sam Raimi and Ted Raimi, they worked together a lot in films, but they made him the star because he was the handsome one.
He was the handsome
Bruce Campbell was.
Which he was. He was the handsome one. It's weird because I went back and watched the first one a while ago, and I couldn't believe how young he looked. Like, I hadn't watched it in a long time, and I'm used to the way he looks now, or at least in Army of Darkness. He's a lot younger in that first one. I don't know how many years apart between that and Army of Darkness, but it seems like a lot.
Get this one out.
Alright,
ready?
I know you.
This one scares me. This is one of my mom's favorite movies.
The Hills Have Eyes.
You know why this scares me?
Why?
Hillbillies scare me.
That's pretty much what our mom likes. Is Wrong Turn, and then The Hills Have Eyes.
They scare me.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. All those
that song.
fun-loving Deliverance.
I can't watch that movie. It's too scary.
That's not
These
even
are like
really a
real
horror
people.
movie. Well, this is actually a real guy right there.
He really does look like that.
And he actually, he got quite a few parts for it. Wasn't he in X-Files?
He was in X-Files. He was in a few other things.
Was he a bounty hunter?
Yeah, he was the bounty hunter.
Okay.
He's just got a very strange face.
See, which was another thing I really liked is back then they used, him. They didn't need makeup and special effects for him.
This guy.
Not to be mean, he looks like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he got work out of it. And he got paid money out of it.
I don't even know what to say about this one, to be honest with you, because I avoid watching it because it's scary to me. Alright, next one. Werewolf movie. What's your favorite werewolf movie?
Dog Soldiers.
That's what I brought along for you.
Yay!
And you have something over there to the left of you.
I do.
We couldn't fit them on the table, so.
Still in the package, it's pretty bulky, so that's why we couldn't really just keep it up here. Otherwise, it'd be kind of blocking us a little bit. But this is what the werewolf looks like, and he's got two different heads here too, and he's got an arm that he can gnaw on. So if you just want to,
some guts all over the floor, you can't see it.
Yeah, he's got guts on the floor.
Nice.
Blood all over himself. This is my favorite werewolf movie. My favorite, because they specifically had said, the producers and everything, that they stuck with doing bodysuits. They have the bodysuits for people to be in, the actors are in it, and then they're on stilts, I believe, as well.
Yeah, they're on stilts.
To make them like really tall.
Really
like,
tall.
I don't know, 8 to 10 feet tall.
That's amazing they don't fall over in those stilts. They're crazy.
Yeah. At the time that they were making this movie is when CG was really making its debut. And it was really becoming popular, and everybody was depending on CGI.
Right.
And they didn't want to do that because they felt like people were going to concentrate more on the special effects and how bad it looks or how good it maybe looks or whatever.
So it's 2001.
So they wanted to make it more realistic, as realistic as they could, so they made these full body suits.
And I agree with them. I mean, like if you watch Jaws, for instance, what's scary about Jaws? It's not really Jaws himself. It's the atmosphere, the music, the character interaction. I mean, there's so much to it that builds up to this shark without even seeing him. He's
without seeing him, but when you do see him, it's a real animatronic shark.
Yeah.
It's all the more scarier because it actually looks like a real shark, and I know that they had a lot of trouble with, because putting it underwater caused a lot of malfunctions.
But still, it's really there.
They worked
to
hard
me,
on
that makes a big difference.
And when you put all that effort into the makeup and the moldings and the bodysuits and whatever else. I mean, you get a lot out of it. This is actually, I mean, I know that's not the most popular one. Just keep her down. Her arm fell off this time. I know that when you put all that effort into it, and I know that this isn't the most popular movie, but I think it's I don't know. I think it's more popular than what
it's a cult classic.
It's kind of become a cult classic. Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's
and
kind
you
of
don't see the werewolves a ton through the whole movie,
and
they're kind of shrouded in darkness.
Yeah. But when you do, there is a scene where the werewolf is standing over the sergeant's bed. He's laying in the bed because his guts were spilling out earlier, so they had to put him back in.
Talk about a gory movie.
Yes, it's very gory. They used like sausages and stuff, you know, for that.
Yeah.
But when the werewolf's standing over his bed, you can really see how big this werewolf is. I mean, this werewolf is almost like touching the ceiling, and he was just glaring over this guy laying in the bed, and it is scary.
Yeah.
It is terrifying. They did a wonderful job with these suits, and I know that around that same part, one of the other characters comes upstairs and shoots the werewolf, and he like kind of flies backwards out the window.
Yeah.
And I guess you could briefly see the guy's boots.
Oh, really?
I guess, but I didn't notice it. Probably one of those things that you have to look out closely.
Well, I want werewolves to go back to this style. I always liked the half man, half wolf, but it's all, you know, gristle and muscle and like this guy. I mean, look at him. He's bulked up. I don't know how to explain it. It's just something about it I really like. Yeah. And now werewolves, we've got like the Twilight wolves, you know, and they're just
they
these
look
big,
like oversized wolves. That's it. Yeah.
And they're very CGI, and I just I want them to go back to this kind of.
This is terrifying. And like, I mean, we've got the underworld ones. They're cool, but they're pretty much mostly CG.
Yeah.
And that just takes it away from me. It just takes the
scare factor.
Yes. And
they're not scary anymore.
Realism out of it for
Vampires
me.
and werewolves are changing. They're not scary
They
anymore.
they are changing. They're becoming sparkly, romantic, necrophilia. No, bestiality. This is a really good movie, and there's actually a lot of interesting things about this movie. Simon Pegg was actually asked to be in the movie, and he thought about it.
From Shaun of the Dead, if you guys don't know.
From Shaun of the Dead, thank you.
He's also in the new Star Trek movies.
Yep, he's also Scotty. He's in quite a few movies, actually. He's made his own. But at the time, Edgar Wright, which was the other writer for Shaun of the Dead, had talked him out of being in this movie because, I don't know, I guess he wanted him to be in Shaun of the Dead. He wanted that to be his first horror movie.
Like his debut would be his own. I guess that kind of makes sense.
Makes sense, but it kind of sucks at the same time.
It would have been great seeing him in that movie. And the actors all in this, I mean, the way they interact with each other is really funny.
Oh, Jason Statham was also asked. They wanted him to be the sergeant in this, which Sean Pertwee, I don't know if I'm saying that right. He ended up taking that place, but Jason Statham was originally asked to be in it, but I believe he said no, he couldn't because he chose Ghost of Mars instead.
Right.
So, comparing the two movies, Ghost of Mars is kind of laughable, so he probably should have won with this one, but that's okay.
I can say my favorite part of this movie is when I forgot the guy's name, I'm starting to forget the character names, but he's boxing the werewolf. Never have I seen a scene where somebody's boxing a werewolf and he's winning. He punches one of his teeth out.
I'm trying to remember which character that is. Was that
I think it was Spoon.
Spoon, that's what I was going to say.
There is no Spoon. There's a Matrix
Spoon.
reference in there where Spoon gets killed and they're like, there is no Spoon.
Yep, so that was his name.
Was really funny.
I really liked him because
he was in that movie.
He was the spunky commando, guy that had the humor. He was funny. He cracked jokes. He was the little guy with the loud voice that they used for bait.
The last words he says, he's surrounded by werewolves. He spits in their face. He's like, I hope I give you the shit. That's awesome.
See, he went out with a bang. And actually, they originally had planned for him to be shown ripped in two.
Yeah.
But they decided that would be too overwhelming for audiences because he was such a well-loved character.
Oh.
So they didn't want to show, his death because it was too much. They really liked him, and they figured everybody else did too. So they
wouldn't have bothered me personally, but I don't know.
I don't know. I really liked him, and then Sean Pertwee did a really good job too. And in the scene where he's upstairs in the bed and they have to put his guts back in because it's spilling out.
Yeah.
And he's been drinking, so he's and he's telling Cooper, I believe that's what his name, Cooper, to punch him out because it hurts so bad. He was the guy who plays Cooper. Punched him the first time he did fine. The second time he misjudged it and actually knocked him in the nose quite hard. But Sean Pertwee was actually drunk at the time. He was really drinking, so he was really drunk, and he did not feel that at all. So yeah, so I found that really interesting. And I told my mom that too.
I forgot to mention that.
Really?
I'm sorry. I gotta go back and say this. The Evil Dead that reminded me. That part where they're stoned.
Yeah.
They really were stoned. Like the first time they shot it, they really were stoned, and they were so unruly they had to reshoot it because I just had to throw that in there. I thought that was hilarious.
Typical college students.
Let's
do it for real. To show realism.
I know. When they showed realism, they couldn't get through the script.
To tie that in with this, though, there is one of the characters in this movie was named Bruce Campbell in the movie.
Yeah,
they didn't. So I don't know if they ever said his last name, but my mom said
on purpose.
They did do it on purpose as reference to Evil Dead because they really like that movie. But my mom said that she does remember a character named Bruce, but I don't know if they ever said his last name. But that's what his name was.
Yeah.
Bruce Campbell is reference to Evil Dead.
So funny.
So I thought that was
there's
interesting.
a lot of little funny things in that movie, like the spoon and the Bruce Campbell and stuff like
They
that.
do references. I believe, I think Mom had said at one point they're all walking and they're whistling the tune like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. They're all whistling that little tune that they do.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of references in that movie. I really like that movie. I mean, it took place pretty much in one house, like one little, deserted house area. But I mean, there was so much.
A lot of my favorite movies I noticed take place in just a small area.
Evil Dead.
Yeah.
You know, that one took place in one area.
It's just scarier if you have a small place you can't really hide.
Yeah. So I mean, this is my favorite werewolf movie of all time. First time I seen this, I was probably about 13 or 14 years old, and I was at a friend's house, and they had gotten just a couple movies to watch, and this was one of them. And I got in my mom's car, she picked me up, and I got in her car on the way home, and I was like, yeah, I seen this really interesting movie about these werewolves. I don't remember what the name is, but it was really cool. And my mom actually pulled the movie out from the back seat and was like, oh, is it this one? And I was like, holy crap, how did you know that? And she was like, I just picked this up earlier. So it was so weird that we both...
It's like fate.
Yeah, like she picked that movie up the same day.
For me, the first time she showed me this cover, it looked, you know those movies that come out and they look like they're terrible just from the cover? This is one of them. I saw the cover and I thought it was going to be one of those really corny, terrible movies. You know what I'm talking about? No, it surprised me. So
there's actually
very good movie.
there's actually 5 werewolves showing in the cover too, and there were 2 extra werewolves, 2 people that turned into a werewolf, during the movie, but there was starting off 5 because it was a family of 5 people that lived in that house.
Why it's
so there's actually they actually made it where there was 5 of them on the cover.
I thought it was just
really
like some stock photo or something.
No, there's actually 5 of them, so that was kind of cool.
Let's move on to the next one. A vampire movie. The one that Mom used to watch over and over when we were kids.
Yes.
Fright Night.
Fright Night.
I remember, I don't know, she had like a marathon of this. I don't know why, but she watched it.
She loved this
like
movie.
every night for a while there.
She gets into these periods of time where she will watch a movie every day, and she will watch it for months on end.
And this was one of them.
And this was one of them.
This is really good.
Along
And,
with Hills Have
and this
Eyes,
is classic zombie. Once again, or zombie, classic vampire. And what I mean by that is the vampire is going around, killing people. It's not one of those friendly, sparkly vampires.
But he's not
vampire.
one of those ugly ones until he turns into a vampire.
Yeah.
He's charming.
Yeah.
He is
So
a
we're
handsome, business-looking man.
So we're kind of like back with Dracula again,
Yeah.
where he was charming.
Yeah.
So we're kind of going back to
Wasn't
that a
greatest
little bit.
But
He was supposed to be charming.
It was
It was the accent.
Our mom had the biggest crush on Chris Sarandon.
Yeah.
Who played the main bad
He's
guy.
on the back, but he doesn't have a very pretty picture.
Yeah. She had a big crush on him, especially because I think they showed his butt at one point.
Yeah.
So she loved
There was
it.
a sex scene in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't see a lot of it, but she did like it though. She did like it though.
Remember, she's like, there's a scene coming up, and we'd have to hide because we
Yeah.
weren't allowed to watch that.
I know, but we still ended up
kids.
seeing it usually.
I always hid underneath the covers.
You didn't care.
I didn't want
You
to see
didn't
it.
care at all, you know.
And remember, you used to be so scared of scary movies that you would hide.
Yeah, I
I'd be
did. I
watching a
hid around the
scary movie,
corner.
and you
'cause
walked around the corner.
There was a little corner that led from the living room to like the kitchen
Yeah.
area, and I would usually stand around the corner and kind of peek around.
Yeah, that's how
just
you
to
watch
see-
movies.
That's how, well, because then I could flee at any moment if it was too bad or too much for me. So, and you'd be just sitting casually on the couch like it was nothing.
I grew up
but-
watching horror movies.
Well, so did I, but I grew up kind of differently. You were more the tomboy.
Yeah.
I was more like the girly
One of the
girl.
first movies I saw was, I don't remember which. I think. Oh, I know. The Drew Barrymore Firestarter. That's one of,
I don't even remember that one. Really.
yeah, that was one of the
Drew
first.
Barrymore,
Yeah, and that one, I think I don't remember this, but apparently it bothered me when I was a kid. The fight where she lit herself on fire or something. I haven't watched that movie in years, but there was a part where somebody gets lit on fire anyway. And I guess I screamed about it the first time I saw it,
Yeah.
and I must have been desensitized because after that I never had any problems with anything.
Yeah, you know.
But that's how my mom desensitized us to horror movies.
Pretty much, she played them all the time. That
Sit in
was
front,
our
watch
daily
this,
movie.
you're fine.
Nightmare on Elm
Nothing will scare you
Street,
now.
Child's Play,
Oh, yeah.
Jaws, all that fun stuff,
Oh,
all that
Child's
fun
Play.
jazz. Misery was a favorite of hers, which I
Misery
hate
she watched
to this
every day
day
as well.
I hate that movie
It is
so
a
much with
good
a passion.
movie, but it's just
No.
because she watched it every single day.
That and Needful Things. I'm sorry, Stephen King, but I hate those movies. Especially because in Needful Things, they kill a dog in that one too.
Right.
So I was upset with that one. So, and also they use
Back on track, Chelsea.
they use like makeup, and you know, instead of
I love
overusing
the
effects.
special effects in this one.
Yeah, like when
There's a
he's
few scenes where I'm
turning
like,
into the vampire.
yeah, and the part where he turns into the bat,
Oh yeah.
that was so cool. I
Yeah.
mean, even now, that is really well done.
Yeah, because this was made, what, in the 80s?
Yeah.
I'd have to say.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for that time, I think that's really impressive, actually.
Yeah, there's a few.
And it was
that
kind of
movie.
a witty movie. It
is
had
witty.
it had its witty
I
moments.
like Roddy
and-
McDowell in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He plays.
Was he the...
He's a TV star that
Yes.
talks about killing vampires,
Yep.
so that's why the main guy, who's a
And-
teenager, is supposed to.
Yeah, he's trying to get help from
He's trying to get help because he saw that he has a vampire next
And they
door.
did remake this movie a couple years ago with Colin Farrell as Jerry, I think is, I don't know what his last
And
name
Doctor
is.
Who.
And Dr. David Tennant is the magician, kind of a fraud. He acts like he knows all this stuff, but
He
he's
was
pretty much
Roddy
Howard.
McDowell's character.
Yes, he was writing McDowell's character. And yeah, he was, I didn't know who he was at the time, but
Yeah.
he's kind of hot though. I mean, you know,
And
he really is.
he's the most entertaining part of the remake. I have
He
to say.
was,
I didn't
actually. I
really like
wasn't
the
impressed
remake
with that
except
movie
for
very
he's
much.
super entertaining.
Yeah.
Because he's just this flamboyant character.
He's kind of, yeah, flamboyant. He's got the low rising leather pants, so you can
Yeah.
almost see everything down there, and then like the open shirt with the eyeliner,
Yeah.
and which is totally different from his Doctor Who character, and then
right.
he was also in Harry Potter as well. So I really liked him. He was pretty much the only thing I liked about
Well,
it.
Chelsea, I think it's time to take a break.
Yes, I know. We've got quite a few movies still to go
Yes.
through, so this was an exciting first, half.
Access Vision. Your voice, your community.